Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy tech insights and helpful tips, please subscribe. Let's begin.
Fixing cut fairy lights might seem daunting, but it's a very achievable DIY project that can save you money and keep those beloved decorations shining. The first and most critical step is always safety. Immediately unplug the fairy lights from any power source. Never attempt repairs on live wires. Once unplugged, gather your essential tools. A pair of small wire strippers, a precision screwdriver, if your lights have tiny connectors, electrical tape or, even better, heat shrink tubing, and ideally, a soldering iron with some solder. A multimeter can also be helpful for testing continuity if you're comfortable with one. Your primary goal is to reconnect the severed electrical circuit. Start by carefully examining the cut ends. Often, the cut is clean, but sometimes wires are frayed. Trim any messy, frayed ends cleanly with wire cutters, ensuring you have a fresh, exposed wire sheath on both sides of the break. Now, using your wire strippers, gently remove about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of the outer insulation from each of the cut wires. Fairy light wires are notoriously thin and delicate, so use the smallest setting on your strippers and apply minimal pressure to avoid cutting the tiny copper strands within. Once the insulation is removed, you should see the bare copper wires. Carefully twist the tiny copper strands on each exposed wire end tightly to create a neat bundle. This makes them easier to work with and ensures better contact. Next, you need to reconnect the wires. If your fairy lights have 2 wires, it's generally straightforward. One is positive, one is negative. Match them up. For multiple wire systems, like those with different colors for RGB functions, you must match the corresponding colors precisely. The most secure and reliable method for reconnecting these delicate wires is soldering. Twist the corresponding bare copper ends together tightly, then heat the twisted connection with your soldering iron and apply a small amount of solder. The solder will flow into the twisted strands, creating a strong, conductive bond. Allow the solder to cool completely before moving on. If you don't have a soldering iron, you can attempt to simply twist the corresponding bare wires together as tightly as possible. While less durable and prone to loosening, this can work for temporary fixes. Once the connection is made, whether by twisting or soldering, the next crucial step is insulation. Before making the connection, you should have slid a piece of heat shrink tubing over one of the wires. Now, slide this tubing over the newly made splice, ensuring it completely covers the exposed wire and overlaps slightly onto the original insulation on both sides. Use a heat gun or even a lighter carefully from a distance to shrink the tubing tightly around the connection. This provides excellent electrical insulation and adds strain relief, making the repair much more durable and safe. If you're using electrical tape, wrap it tightly and securely around the exposed splice, ensuring multiple layers cover the entire connection and overlap well onto the existing wire insulation. After all connections are insulated, it's time to test your repair. Plug the fairy lights back into the power source. If they light up, congratulations, you've successfully fixed them. If only a section lights up or they remain completely off, carefully unplug them again. Re-examine your connections. Did you match the correct wires? Is there any stray bare wire touching another connection, causing a short? Is the insulation complete? Sometimes there might be more than one break, especially if the lights were severely damaged. You might need to trace the entire length of the strand for other potential cuts or pinch points. Fixing cut fairy lights requires patience and precision, but the satisfaction of bringing them back to life is well worth the effort. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more helpful DIY tips.